On today's episode of the DeRaud Messinger Show, we make our playoff predictions. Dylan, guess what version? Round 4. High school football fans, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. It's greatly appreciated. So to begin, Dylan, of course, a team that we've been talking about quite a bit in Prosper opens the episode with 6A D1, number 25, Lewisville versus number 10, Prosper. Now, Dylan, I was singing the praises of the young quarterback Harrison Rosar, who I mean young, he's now a senior. Dylan, that time flies, but still young in the whole scheme of things. The senior went off last weekend, and Dylan, made me look good. I think you picked Prosper too, so I'll give credit to both of us there. But Lewisville, Dylan, is the hot hand in these playoffs. As you know, they beat Arlington Martin 10-0, showcasing that defense. And that is why, Dylan, I'm going with Lewisville because they've been able to outscore opponents such as Keller, which they just absolutely massacred, if I'm being quite honest, Dylan. No filter there. But then they've also showed that the defense can step up as well. You got junior quarterback Ethan Terrell and running back Byron Allison out there. It's going to be a battle. I still like Rosar, Dylan, and he's been doing his thing too. I mean, they beat a ranked matchup or a ranked team last weekend. I believe it was North Crowley, like number 19 in the state. So a good win for Prosper. But I'm feeling Lewisville as a hot hand here. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like that Lewisville pick. They are coming off great wins. 10-0 Devon against Arlington Martin. And then, like you said, 43-3 over Keller. So that defense has been putting in the work. And then that rushing attack, like you talked about, with Terrell at quarterback and Ellison at running back, Devon, they had 340 yards rushing last game against Keller. So, like we've talked about in the past, if they get the lead with that rushing attack and that defense, it's very hard for any team to kind of match that pace and get back into that game. But with Prosper, you're talking of Harris and Rosar. I like Prosper in this matchup because I think with his ability to throw the ball, probably be the best passer in this game, it's going to allow Prosper to be more dynamic on offense and honestly kind of like keep them in this game as well. But also, Devin, there is something to be said about can Prosper get past the fourth round? They've lost the past 3 years in a row in the fourth round in the playoffs. So something's got to break here, but I'm going with Prosper in this one. Now, at the next one, we have 6A D1, number 7, Spring Westfield against Devon. Number 3, Duncanville. I don't think we ever pick against Duncanville the entire year. This defense is only allowing 9 points on average, and their offense pretty much just does the rest. There's just so much talent, on both sides of the ball. I don't see how Westfield can contain Duncanville's running game that is led by Caden Durham. And you know, I don't know how Westfield possibly scores more than 30 points in this matchup, even though they are normally averaging 51 points per season. I just think Duncanville as a whole, I mean, they're going for the title here. I just don't think Westfield is going to be able to keep up here.
Yeah, and it's funny because Duncanville, unfortunately had an injury earlier in the season to their starting running back, and then as you said, Durham comes in and he's also, just been lighting it up. I think he's also a future D1 guy. But Dylan, a little secret here: most of the Duncanville starting, lineup seems to be also D1 men. Specifically, it's also Dylan on defense. Colin Simmons, a linebacker, one of the top players in the country. And Dylan, I don't know if you would agree here, but I think Duncanville, surprisingly enough, I know jokes aside for the many jokes that people like to make about these Panthers in playoffs and state titles, I think they are the favorite right now. Don't hold your breath on that though, as
Eh,
we've seen Dylan and we've picked wrongly a couple of times. Come on, Coach Samples, but I do have Duncanville in this one as well. Next game we have Dylan. We got a little bit of a rematch from a couple weeks ago. 6A D1, number 8, Atascocita versus number 2, North Shore. Now, the main thing to know, which we note Dylan pretty much half of the year so far due to an unfortunate injury to Caleb Bailey, who is the typical North Shore starting quarterback who is out for the season. As a result, you have Dylan, a wide receiver, playing quarterback, which is always lovely. You got David Amador, who's a UTSA commit at wide receiver, starting for the Mustangs at quarterback. But Dylan, no surprise here. He's actually been pretty rock solid. He's also been, showcasing that arm, Dylan, which, all wide receivers want to do at some point in their career, obviously. And, get a little Philly specials in there without the throwback to the quarterback because Dylan, he's injured, unfortunately. But I do think, North Shore just barely edged out Atascocita before. That would be kind of an alarm for me in this game because Atascocita obviously at this point has learned a little bit about those Mustangs. But I think Amador gets it done. North Shore usually just too stout of a defense to pick against.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about these revenge games. Atascocita, they've lost 5 straight games, Devin, to North Shore. And also, they lost 16-13 earlier in the year on a late-minute drive. So they were in that game. They were very close to winning, but obviously, David Amador made enough plays at that QB spot to win that game. And also, this North Shore defense, they had 10 sacks last week against Cinco Ranch, Devin, as well as running back Rashad Johnson next to David Amador, having 214 yards and 2 touchdowns. But Devin, I just feel like playing a team a second time after coming off a close win is never what you want, especially with playmakers like QB Zion Brown for Atascocita, Tory Blaylock, and wide receiver Daryl Gill. It's going to put a lot of pressure on North Shore here to try to pull this off. I feel like it's finally going to get to North Shore. They're not playing a pure QB in this game, and I like Atascocita's defense. Devin, I'm going with the upset, all right? I'm going with the upset. I'm
All
putting it
right.
all on the line here.
Hopefully this doesn't turn out to be a Carthage Devon-esque pick, Dylan. But
Yeah.
speaking of upsets, I'm sure Dylan has picked some questionable ones in this lightning round. Dylan, we have a ton of games here. In fact, I might have spent a couple hours just inputting these games into the sidebar. Yet again, abbreviations because we don't have enough room for all these lengthy team names. The first game we have is number 14 Brennan versus number 1 Westlake in the 6A class. Of course, Dylan, I'm picking Westlake here.
Yeah, I'm not crazy enough to go with Brennan here. I'm going with Westlake. Next one, we got 6A D2, number 6, Denton Geyer versus number 4, South Lake Carroll. Devin, we've been picking Denton Geyer all year, and now they're going against our alma mater. This is very difficult, but Carroll's defense, I just don't think it's going to make enough plays. Going with Denton Geyer.
Yeah, the Carroll defense has been suspect, and Carroll has dealt with injuries, but Dylan, they've still rolled on thus far. But yes, I also do not want to get disowned here, but I am also picking Geyer. The next game we got another 6A matchup, 6A D2, number 17 Vandegrift versus number 11 Dripping Springs. Dylan, Dripping Springs has Novasad, the Baylor commit, at quarterback. Vandegrift, though, is kind of like a mini Westlake, always routinely getting pretty far in the playoffs. I believe they usually make it about one more round before they get knocked out. But I'm kind of going with a surprise pick, even though they're the higher ranked team. I got Dripping Springs.
Yeah, this might bite us in the butt here, but I'm also going with Dripping Springs. And then with the next one, we have 5A D1, number 2 Mansfield Timberview against number 1 Longview. Devin, I got to go with Longview.
Yeah, no surprise there. Longview has always been Dylan's boys. You got Jalen Hale still out there, snagging passes and a good running attack as well. I was kind of surprised when I was looking at the stats. My eyes opened up, Dylan. Jalen Hale might get to the 1,000-yard mark in this game on the season, so something to watch out for. It's a good game, though, Dylan. A 2 versus 1 matchup. I have Longview, though. Next game we have 5A D1, number 10 College Station versus number 9 Smithson Valley. This is an interesting matchup. Both teams suffered some injuries either in the opening week or just prior to the season, but both have made it this far in the playoffs, Dylan. But I do have Smithson Valley here.
Yeah, it's going to be over. Can limp faster that finish line, Devin. I'm going to be going with College Station in this one. And next we have 5A D2, number 9 Melissa versus number 8 South Oak Cliff. Devin, South Oak Cliff's kind of turned the season around a little bit after that rocky start at the beginning, but I feel like it ends here with Melissa.
Yeah, Melissa has been doing great in these playoffs, and South Oak Cliff, Dylan, seemingly every single week in the regular season in the playoffs has, as you were mentioning in that last pick, has been limping their way through. They just don't seem to be able to run away with anything. Sweet Melissa, but I do have South Oak Cliff in this one, surprisingly enough. Next game we have 4A D1, number 4 Anna versus number 1 China Spring. Dylan, China Spring has been leading the way in their class all year long. I'm going to pick them here.
Yeah, smart pick is definitely China Springs here, so I'll be going with them. Now, next we got 4A D1, number 3 Bourne versus number 2 Corpus Christi Cal Allen. Devin, I'm going with Cal Allen.
Dylan, that was a very disrespectful pick. You know why? Because it's pronounced Bernie. But
Bernie.
I do also have. It's a shocker of a pronunciation. I'll tell you that much. I have the trick though of covering a game over there, so you got to learn the hard way. But I have Cal Allen as well, one of the most historic franchises in the sport of high school football. Next game we have 4A D2 Dylan. Here's where you can roast me up. Number 7 Texarkana Pleasant Grove versus number 1 Carthage. I admit my mistakes. Everyone has those days, Dylan. I don't want to quote the rest of the song, but I did pick against Carthage. It was a 2v1 matchup, to be fair, but I've learned. I know I'm a Pleasant Grove guy, but I'm going to smarten up here. I have Carthage.
See, I don't like that. I feel like this is becoming a rivalry between us. You taking any moment to pick against Carthage, hoping they fall to somebody like Pleasant Grove.
And it never happens.
And it never happens, and I'm always sticking my gut and going with Carthage. So, Devon, I will be going with Carthage in this matchup. Sadly, Pleasant Grove, I think the season ends here. Next, we got 4AD2, number 4, Silsby against number 3, Cuero. Devon, I have Silsby.
Wow. Jordan Whittington, the best championship game or single game performance I've ever seen was him for Cuero in his championship game. A little bit of a hangover effect here, Dylan. I'm picking Cuero. I'm just remembering the good old days of covering him in high school. The next game we have 3AD1, number 3, Columbus versus number 1, Franklin. Franklin has been beating ranked opponents left and right. I got them in this one.
Yeah, they're an absolute juggernaut. I'll be going with Franklin. Next, we got 3AD2, number 10, Wall versus number 4, Canadian. Devon, going with Canadian.
Yeah, Dylan, I also agree. It's not a very American pick, but I have Canadian. Next game we have 3AD2, number 2, Holiday. Speaking of the Holidays, versus number 1, Gunter. I got Gunter in this one. I believe they were my preseason pick. I could be wrong there.
Devon, let's just keep making Holiday puns. Christmas bells are ringing, and I'm going with Holiday. Next one, we got 2AD1, number 8, Cisco versus number 2, Holly. Got Holly in this matchup.
I have Holly as well. Next game we have 2AD1, number 7, Tolar versus number 3, Crawford. I'm telling you guys, we have a lot of games this week. I have Crawford.
Yeah, I have Tolar. Next one, we got 2AD1, number 6, Shiner versus number 4, Refugio. Devon, this is going to be a tough one to pick. I'm going with Shiner based off past success.
Dang, that's like 3 in a row against the Devon Wave here. I got Refugio in this one. The next game we have, that's going to be a good game, though. The next game we have is 2AD2. I'm telling you, so many games. Number 7, Collinsville versus number 6, Albany. Dylan, I'm not so much of a New York guy, but I do have Albany in this one.
I was high on Albany coming into the year, Devon. I don't know. I don't remember if they're my 2AD2 pick, but I'm riding with Albany in this one.
He's got the old age, guys. Please bear with us.
Yeah. It's going senile over here. Now, Devon, just so many games. 2AD2, number 10, Granger versus number 2, Burton. I got Burton in this one.
I have Burton as well. The next game we have, we're making our way to 1A D1. You got number 5, Happy versus number 2, Westbrook. Westbrook is my boy. They're also Dylan's boy. No surprise here. I have Westbrook.
They got to be one of our boys, but I will be agreeing with you and going with Westbrook in this one. Now we're talking about 1AD1, number 7, Erie County. It's number 1, Abbott. Devon, Erie County won't go away. They keep showing up in our lightning rounds, but I'm going with Abbott to finally put the nail in the coffin here.
Yeah, I feel like we keep on picking against them, Dylan, but I also have Abbott in this one. The last game, the last game, don't count them up because that has been a lot of games. 1AD2, number 7, Witherall versus number 1, Benjamin. It's always smart, Dylan, to not pick against the number 1 team. I'm not going to do that. I got number 1, Benjamin.
Yeah, but these past 2 matchups, these are, Erie County and Witherall, they keep showing back up like we talked about. They got the hot hand, so this might be the time where one of those wins out of the 2. But Devon, I'm going to go with Benjamin, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, what a tease there. And more importantly than Dylan's teases, which game are you guys most looking forward to watching this weekend? Let us know down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, have a great rest of your day.